topic. Again, a little bit more about some failed trades, potential trades. So looking back on hindsight, did the Knicks make the right call in declining the deal for Donovan Mitchell? And who has a higher ceiling for the future? Is it the Jazz, who obviously gave up Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs for all those picks, who originally the Knicks declined the offer for, which at the time the Knicks and Jazz discussed a deal in early July last year that would have sent RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, Mitchell Robinson and 3 unprotected first round picks to Utah. And in a different discussion between the two sides, the Knicks refused Utah's request to include Quentin Grimes with Barrett. The Jazz were willing to accept a deal with Emmanuel Quickly instead of Grimes. If the Knicks included 3 unprotected first round picks, then they would have gone ahead with it, but the Knicks were only willing to give up 2 unprotected picks, with the third having a top 5 protection. So when talks broke down with the Knicks, Utah began looking at other offers. The Cavs got the deal done by giving up Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji, unprotected first-round picks in 2025, 27, and 29, plus pick swaps in 2026 and 2028. So the question I do pose, based off this decision, who has the highest ceiling? Is it the Knicks or the Jazz?
As of now, I think it's the New York Knicks. I really rate their, young core. Well, not young core, but some of these guys have still got plenty to play out in their careers, like a Julius Randle, a Jalen Brunson. These guys aren't, they got plenty and plenty of basketball left in them. So on that front, I think it's the Knicks, because you got those two who are all-star level players, maybe even all-NBA for Randle. And then you got Quickly, who he kind of is in that Tyrese Maxey mold. I don't think he's as good, but he kind of serves as that same role, and I think he still has plenty to give for the Knicks. And he one day could be a 20-point plus per game scorer. Quentin Grimes he's amazing. I think he is New York Knicks' shining light this season. Besides Jalen Brunson, I think he really goes under the radar. And then they got guys like McBride, Obi Toppin. I don't know how long he'll be there for, but maybe I hope he can string together a bit more upside to show, because I don't think it's all gone to plan, but at the same time, it's not really all his fault. He's playing next to guys like RJ Barrett, who he is a 20-point per game plus scorer. I don't love his game. I don't hate his game, but he's kind of just there. And then Mitchell Robertson, one of the best rim runners in the league, a great shot blocker. And I don't think he's super happy at the moment, but at the end of the day, winning solves everything. So if they go far in the playoffs, or somewhat far, that's the problem solved. So I back the Knicks over the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I think it was the right thing for the Knicks to do here. As much as Donovan Mitchell obviously is an All-NBA first-team caliber player, which he's shown this season and helped the Cavs into that 4th seed in the East. I just don't think giving up all those assets for a guy like Donovan Mitchell, which then would have left them very scarce in other areas, obviously would have helped them in this particular instance. I'm not sure whether this trade would have gone through, or whether the whole Jalen Brunson thing would have gone through before this trade, so I can't comment on that. But obviously, if you have a backcourt of Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson, that maybe makes things a little bit different, you know what I mean? And you have Julius Randle as well in the mix. It definitely, I still think, could have been a very potent lineup. I'm not saying that, but I think a lot of what they rely on is their bench depth, and having guys like you said, Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickly, who has been starting a little bit as of late, but him coming off the bench is that 6-man role. And you got guys like Obi Toppin, who at times looks like he could be an all-star caliber player, and a guy that has that potential to really take his game to the next level. You see he has these 34-point games, 35-point games with 8-9 threes, and you wonder, why doesn't he do this on more of a consistent basis? And it's one of the frustrating things, because he's got all the tools. He's athletic. He's relatively long. He's got the ability to hit that 3-pointer, and I think he just sometimes, with the lack of playing time, he maybe loses the rhythm and flow of the offense, and sometimes he's disinterested on the defensive side of the ball. But I really like guys like that, and Mitchell Robinson, who's that defensive anchor for them. And even it's like unheralded guys like Isaiah Hartenstein who, just play their role. And
best backup in the league.
yeah, definitely. And I think in terms of how they've obviously built their team, even acquiring Josh Hart during the trade deadline or during the trade period, that was a big acquisition for them. And I think all of those pieces have come together at the right time. And I think in terms of if they can get all those young guys to really project to where they were projected to go when they got drafted and really hit their full potential, then I think there's no dramas in saying that the New York Knicks definitely have a higher ceiling. In saying that, though, obviously with all the picks that Utah Jazz have acquired, with a guy like Walker Kessler as your defensive anchor, you got a star player, a superstar player. Well, not superstar yet, but he's pushing on that cusp of being a superstar with Larry Markkinen. You got these other complementary pieces like Baji, who's obviously got a lot of potential as well, and he's shown that as of late in the late part of this season. I think all of that put together definitely can give you a debate as to saying that they have a higher ceiling, but I think they probably shot themselves in the foot a little bit this year with winning too many games, especially knowing how strong this draft was at the top end with guys like Victor Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller. I think that's probably going to impact them now, and they didn't even make the play-in, so if you're not going to make the play-in, you're better off tanking